Welcome to What's New in AL for Business Central 2024 Wave 2, the Hacker Edition. Hey, I'm Eric, and it's that time of year again, October. And apart from all the Halloween decorations and up here in the Pacific Northwest, the rain, it's also when we get the Wave 2 of Business Central. This time it's actually BC version 25, so the version number of Business Central has now overtaken the year, which is kind of fun because, you know, in April we got version 24 in 2024, but now we're on BC 25. Behind the scene we are getting AL version 14, and in this video I'm gonna take a look at what's new for AL, and then we're gonna, as usual, dive under the cover to see if there's some surprises. There might be. So let's just get into it because the list is actually pretty nice this time. So here we go. Here is, and there's a link to this page, hopefully down below, if you want to check this out for yourself. As usual, this is a wave, and what does wave means? Well, wave means that over the last 6 months, this is what Microsoft has been working on, but they don't necessarily release everything on day one. So we now have 20.5.0, but some of the things that are announced for this release will not show up until 25.1 or 0.2, whatever. So it's this concept of a wave. Sometimes it's kind of seemed like a cheap excuse, but again, getting a new release every 6 months is almost like, why are we even celebrating this every 6 months? But that's another discussion. We are here now, and we are for sure celebrating this release. So let's check it out. And right off the, so I'm only gonna focus on the development section today. So right off the bat, we got set up easier in-client performance profiling with rules. So we have the client's profiler. That's hard to say. And now we got something new. So we got the profiler schedules, and I think the idea is that you can kind of set up a schedule of some sort of a profile. I guess this is a profile. I can take the tour, but I'm not going to take the tour. Actually, I have no idea. So I'm looking forward to see how this. We are more specific. Take a tour. Maybe we need to take a tour. 13. I'm not going to take a 13 tour. Description. Test. Boom. Activity in the browser. Background web service. So now we have this thing. And I have no idea, but I think, to be honest, let's see what they say. With this, a customer admin, consultant, support person, or developer can set up a specific schedule rule, for example, to profile as a given user and session type for a given duration. Once the rule is defined, and enable the server will trigger a profile each time the rule is met. At the end of the duration, profiling will stop, and the result can be inspected to see if there are any performance issues. So I imagine that I can set this up so every time Dave is starting a specific report, I'm going to profile it so I can see how that report is going. I think this is pretty cool. I wish I could figure out how to use it, but I guess there's, I need to find some documentation. Anyway, the idea is really cool, and we will play with that in a future video. Okay, next one up. So this one is actually slightly controversial. The ternary operator. So the idea is that you can have now, you can have an if statement as a value. So if we go into AL and I type that if let's create a if D is equal, let's create one more. So we have two dates. Yeah. So if D is today, then D2 is 0 day, else D2 is end of year, something like that, right? Did I do that wrong? I did that very wrong. Wow. Something like, yeah, there we go. Haha, I'm able to type it late. So, right now you cannot say something equal if. That doesn't work, because if is a statement and it is not an expression, so if will not return a value. If you're working in other languages, that might be different, but in AL, an if statement is not an expression. It has an expression inside. So what we can do instead of this thing, we can go and say D2 equal, then we actually just going to do the expression D equal today, and then a question mark and a colon, because we cannot have too many key presses, because this syntax was created in the 70s, and keyboards were slow, and you know, time was money and all that good stuff. But this line is doing the same as these 4 lines. If you ask my honest opinion, there are cases where this is cool. There are probably cases where I would wish this would work, and we have to try it out in a video, because can I put it in an expression on a in a data set on a page? So can I but also I have never found this, even back in the olden days, I have never found this easily to read. And you can completely make it unreadable by taking one of these things and put it into so we could have a new one here. So instead of 0 day, we could have another scenario syntax inside it, and so on. So it comes completely unreadable for anything but a debugger or a compiler, I should say. But where it could be cool would be, let's say if we go layout and add last in control1, because that's the name of the repeater. We insert a field hang on, let's grab reg dot, this is where it doesn't matter, reg dot name2. Why is this so weird right now? Because I put a comma. Wow. Huh. Okay, here's the thing. So now we actually got the styles are, but what if I do saying that here I go, so I could say that reg dot, again, it doesn't really matter. I could just say that if today, doesn't matter. If today is larger than 0 day, question mark. See, already now it breaks. Ambiguous. Colon ambiguous. All right. But we can't do these. We can only do very simple simple expressions here. But that would be cool, because if you could put an if into a style, then we don't have to create a global and such. Anyway, let me know if you want to try this out in a video at some time where I actually prepared it. So there's probably some examples here that did the same thing as I did. Let's go on to the next one. Pull extension source from GitHub when opening Visual Studio Code from web client. So now you can put into the app JSON where this came from, what is the repo, and so on. So when you are in the client here and you open up this guy and explore in Visual Studio, or that's the one thing, and then I think the other one that's probably they're doing here now. Open source in VS Code. I guess that's the one they are talking about here. Let's see. Yeah, then it can pull the repo, assuming that the person that was want to do this does not already have the repo on the machine, which probably most of them will. I guess it's a nice feature. Remove friction when working with external app dependencies. This one is very interesting, and for sure I'm going to do a video on this. So the challenge is that if you have a dependency to a Appsource app, how do you easily get the symbols? And depending on whether the app will give you full symbols or just give you the public symbols, that has been annoyingly hard. So Microsoft is now basically all Appsource app, they're gonna auto create a nugget package with the symbols, so we will be able to pull symbols from Nugget, same way as kind of, we do download symbols now, but instead of downloading from, as in addition to downloading from an environment, you can also get download from Nugget. Especially so right now Microsoft are putting this into ALGO for GitHub, but I guess it will spread. There will be a video on that for sure. Use this keyword for code unit self-reference. So in other languages, this has being like a self-reference, whatever you're in an object. So now we have this. We already had that for most objects. We have cur report, cur page, but we did not have a cur code unit. And now that code units are more and more, actually I think we can just show it also. It also works on pages. So I can do this and then update. This will be the same as these two other, that's the same thing. But before we couldn't have a self addressing a code unit. So now the code units are becoming more and more like objects in a sense. You cannot pass yourself as a parameter to something. You can create a code unit variable and pass that around, that's fine. But if you're inside a code unit, you cannot pass yourself to something, which in some cases were quite annoying. So that's updated now. We like that. Here's another fun one. Specify and use full text search indexes on table fields. Let's find this. So the idea is that you can specify a field to be full text, to be good at full text search. And this is like a full stack implementation. So you specified it, but you also have the ability to specify this with set filter. There's even a new, and how long has it been since we got a new syntax in filtering syntax? So 2% is full text search. So we're gonna play with that for sure, because I've in another project I just implemented full text search in a different way, so that might not have been necessary. We might be able to reuse this instead. So that's very interesting. I like it. Where do you go? Restore extensions if publishing from Visual Studio Code fails. So, you know, depending on if you have a dependency tree, so and then you publish something deep in the tree, as long as it goes good, things that have dependencies on the thing you just published will most cases, most cases it worked, but there's still a lot of cases where you ended up if something happened, then you left all the other extension not installed. Microsoft is helping on that. If publishing an extension from within Visual Studio Code fails, the publishing process tries to restore any previous installed extensions that were uninstalled and unpublished as part of the failed publishing. If a full restore fails, the developer is informed about which extension could be restored and which one failed, providing the developer with a better overview. Yeah, nice. Then there's a bunch of stuff for reports. So Word report has been there's lots of work have been done on Word reports. We got some like conditional stuff inside Word. Some of the things that we have really missed, and something with themes, which is also very interesting. So these layouts allow you to change the report's look and feel, including colors, fonts, and style, directly in Word by simply changing the Office theme from the Design tab. That sounds very, very promising. That we need to look at for sure in a later video. Package resources in extension and access from AL. So this is one of my big asks for years now. I can't imagine years. So if you have an app, you might have some resources that would be data. Let's say a config package to make it easier, or a JSON file, or binaries, or whatever it is, and there's no way until now that you could actually put this together in the app file. You had to put it on a web page somewhere and auto download it from there, or there was a hack, which is a terrible hack, but it kind of worked, where you could package your data as images in a JavaScript control, and then you can get the JavaScript control to send in the image to you. A nice hack, but not a very usable hack from security and other perspectives. So now we get, but remember I said something with waves at the beginning. So this is not until December. So that will be 25.3 or something like that. But that's gonna be nice, very nice to have. Run code action for file, project, or workspace. I think Andres already did that. So yeah. And then we have 3 more. Type testing and casting operators for interfaces and extend AL interfaces. So now you can extend an interface. So in this case, we have two interfaces, and then we extend both of them, and then we have a code unit that implements our extended version. But that introduces, this is nice, and I'm sure there are use cases where this is relevant. In reality, most AL development so far doesn't really, I don't think this is a much used functionality outside of some very specific areas, but it does. From a programming perspective, you run into the problem that you might not know if something is what version of it is it the original object, or is it the extended object. So you now have two other operators. You can ask if something is a specific interface to be able to handle, and you can also cast. So if you have something that is something that you can send it off to somebody else as a specific interface. So that is an app. Let me know if that interests you, and I'll for sure do a video on it. I use interfaces in a couple of places. In the SharePoint connector, I have an interface for the incoming document, so you can define a new source. Also have an interface for criterias, so you can that are testing whether what is this a vendor document, what kind of document is it, and so on. Those interfaces. I have another app called the Cloud Replicator. And the destination, the different database it can replicate data to, each of them is an interface. So adding a new database is just another interface. Let me know if you're interested in stuff like that. And the very last one we have here on the list is extend and customize profiles from other extensions. So now you can do a profile extension object. Yeah, nice. So that in itself is, it's a nice list. But as tradition, and you guys demand, what we need to dig deeper. We need to go under the hood, and before I started recording this video, I decompiled one of the central DLLs in the compiler, as we've done with all the other versions, and we can see where we left off and see what was all the stuff that we saw in 13.0, and there was a bunch of stuff. There's a video on that. We got something came in 13.1 about log audit message, and nothing else. So here goes 14, and the list is long, and the list is long because there are some new stuff. The one that caught my eye, just briefly browsing through this, was this guy. So here we have page types, and there's something called the configuration dialog. So we got the prompt dialog back in version 12, but now we have a configuration dialog. So whatever that is. So if we go down here and then do page config page type configuration dialog that asks, dialog that asks the user for input to configure a process or automation. So is that let's see what we are missing here. This feature is still under development. There can only be set if extensibility is set to false. This feature is under development and cannot be used in an extension. Page default publisher.watch new config. Yeah, okay. So is that because I do this one? Yeah. There's something there. Whatever that might be. Not on this list, right? Or did I miss something? No, I don't think I did. So there's something called the configuration dialog, which would be different from the navigate page where you can create a wizard. Because if I ask, hey Eric, can you create a dialog that asks the user for input to configure a process automation? I would create a navigate page. But maybe in the future I need to create a configuration dialog. Yeah, you never know. What else did we miss here? There's something with file upload, row action. Not quite sure what that is, but maybe we figure out at some point. Another thing that was not on this list that I found here quickly was with date. So you can see the date, month, year, date of week. So now we can actually do here. Let's get rid of this thing that's not there. Now we can do d dot instead of having to do dm date to d1, and then we do the date and we say 1 for the day. So instead of doing this, we can do d dot day, d-day. And we have the same with time. So now we can say time.hour milliseconds. So I think that's further down here on the list. Let's see, time class, yeah. Then there's a bunch of stuff for the report, and this one, you know, we did this one, you and me together. I can't remember if it's probably, did I jump over this in the list? I thought it was on the list. I guess it's not on the list. But we did this. You can see here, save as JSON on a query. Remember the query video? And you could save as XML, you can save as CSV, but you cannot save as JSON. Apparently Microsoft watches silly videos on YouTube, and so they said, huh, that's a good idea. So thank you for watching the video for this one, because we got a new function here, so that's pretty cool. Then yeah, I think we covered most of this. There's a bunch of stuff, but I think they mainly point to that new page types, and it gets a bunch of properties. I'm very intrigued by the configuration dialog. That's gonna be fun. Anyway, we have the half-hour mark, so I suggest that if you want some actual AL hacking instead of just looking at what's possible, check out this video. It's a good one. I'll see you there. Take care. Bye.